Hi everyone, my name is Shereen, and I'm a physiologist and professor at the University of Alberta. Have you ever wondered what it's really like to be a scientist? When I was very young, I would hear about what scientists just discovered on the radio or even read about it in the newspaper. But I found it hard to imagine what scientists actually did, and I was always curious about it. Now that I am a scientist, I would like to share what I do with all of you. We'll see that being a scientist is challenging, but also very rewarding. The best part of all is that sometimes you get to play all day. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go! When you think about a scientist, what pops up in your mind? Is it a mad scientist doing crazy experiments in a secret basement lab with lots of bubbling potions around and smoke in the air? Or maybe it's what we see in TV and in the movies. Maybe Bill Nye the Science Guy comes to mind. The reality is that scientists are regular people like you and me that work hard to understand how the world around us works and try their best to improve our lives and protect our planet. There are so many fields of science to study. I'm a physiologist, so that means I study how the body works when it's healthy and what goes wrong in disease. In my case, I'm the most curious about how the different organs in our body work together to help keep us healthy and to understand what goes wrong when we get sick, so we can try to find ways to fix it. There are many different ways to study physiology. For my projects, it's important to study the living body and not just parts of it. To do that, I study special mice and rats that are bred for the purpose of experiments. I study how the heart and blood vessels work to deliver blood with fresh oxygen and nutrients to all parts of our body. I'm also interested in the kidneys and how they work to clean our blood and help us get rid of wastes. Physiologists often study mice and rats because it's very difficult to study how these organs work in humans. And although these animals look very different from us, many body functions are actually similar. Fortunately, we're privileged to have special permission to study these animals, which helps us understand how our own bodies work and helps us discover information that can lead to the creation of life-saving medicine or treatment for humans. Different experiments require different tools. In my experiments, sometimes we need to perform surgeries, so I use surgical tools and supplies. Many of these tools are mini versions of the same tools used in humans. I also use a special microscope and lights to help me see small things like tiny blood vessels and nerves that I'm interested in exploring. The equipment I use in my lab setup helps me to measure things like blood pressure and blood flow that I can record on a computer. The cage on my lab bench is called a Faraday cage, and it helps me record nerve activity. Although my favorite part of my career is doing experiments, I love being a physiologist because I get to do so much more. After performing surgeries and collecting data, I get to be a presenter and share what I've discovered with other scientists. A big part of my job is reading, which I love. I get to read about what other scientists have discovered, and this inspires me to be creative and think of new experiment ideas to try in the lab. Sharing what I've learned also means writing articles and books, so I'm an author too. Probably one of my favorite parts of my job is my role as a physiology professor. At the University of Alberta, I have the privilege of teaching students all about how the body works. Now, you might be wondering about what you need to do to become a scientist and professor. It takes a lot of hard work, but it's actually pretty simple. Try to do the very best you can in school every day, starting from right now. Listen and participate in class, and always complete your homework assignments as best as you can. Make sure to respect and listen to your family and teachers because they can help you to become whatever you dream to be. Eating healthy food, getting lots of sleep, and exercise are also super important because learning takes a lot of energy and you want to be as healthy as you can be today so you can achieve your goals in the future. So there we go. As scientists, we get to do a huge variety of things, sometimes all in one day. If you like to be creative, and are curious to try out your ideas, you might find experiments fun. If you love to read and write, that's a huge part of what a scientist and professor does every day. It's also fun and rewarding to share what you've learned with other scientists and students too. Sometimes we get to travel, see new places, work with new people, and learn how to do different kinds of experiments. The best part about that is pretty soon you'll have friends in many different parts of the world. Another awesome part about being a physiologist and studying how the body works is that one day information we discover can help humans live long and healthy lives. I hope that you've enjoyed exploring what it means to be a physiologist with me, and with that, I would like to wish you all the best in your future. Bye!